Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for watching us today. We're talking about osteoporosis, and it is quite frightening. It is a disease, and I like calling it a disease because it is that. A lot of health workers do not believe it to be a disease, but it is. It is one in which your bones get brittle and lose their strength over the years. And why am I talking about it? I should let the experts talk about it, which is why we have Dr. Mansoor Ali Khan in the studio with us today. He's an orthopedic surgeon at South City Hospital and Indus Hospital. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Mansoor.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a very important topic.
Yes, we were talking before the show, and can you just give us a little background of what osteoporosis is?
Well, osteoporosis is a medical term, so most people don't understand what it exactly means. In simple English, it's translated as a brittle bone disease.
Okay.
That a bone is not as strong as it should be.
Okay.
And what happens is that the bone density, how dense the bone is, and the quality of the bone both deteriorate as a result of aging, which is the primary cause. In females can be postmenopausal, the absence of estrogen hormones. Now, menopause can be the natural old age, or can be surgically induced as a result of any surgery which puts them into menopause. Can be as a result of medications. Some people will require steroids just to breathe, for asthma, for example. So that will produce alteration in the density and quality of bone.
Okay.
So even a minor injury, which in a young person or even an identically aged person who is otherwise fit would not produce a fracture, will produce a major bone breakage in someone with osteoporosis.
Okay. Now that we know what osteoporosis is, how common is it in this part of the world?
Like most things in this part of the world, there is no real data.
No statistics.
What data is available is actually very simply compiled from statistics from hospitals, which gives an idea how common people present to hospitals with the problem, but does not record the people who are walking about before they break a bone with the disease. So it's a very small percentage actually present to doctors. It's estimated 40%, 35%, 30% people above the age of 45 will have osteoporosis. These are different figures from different authorities.
It's a high percentage.
But as a rough example, people understand dollars and cents better. In the United States, the daily cost of treatment for osteoporotic fractures is approximately $40 million a day.
Wow.
Now, that's a good fraction of our national budget, I think. So $40 million a day, what it costs just to take care of patients with osteoporotic issues, disease as well as fractures. Okay,
before we started shooting, you said something very interesting to me, that as an orthopedic surgeon, usually when a patient comes to you, it's already too late because you're dealing with broken bones. It is the primary responsibility of family doctors, gynecologists. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, worldwide, orthopedic surgeons do not manage osteoporosis. It is the preserve of the family physician, primary care physician, internal medicine specialist, endocrinologist, gynecologist in case of female patients who have surgically induced menopause at an early age, and rheumatologists. In Pakistan, the number of rheumatologists, good rheumatologists, is very small. Most primary care physicians are dealing with so many disorders that osteoporosis, they don't neglect it, but it comes very low down on the list of diseases which are prevailing in Pakistan. Diabetes, hypertension is such a huge epidemic that osteoporosis tends to be put down the list. We see the patient when they present with a broken bone. In European centers, in American centers, orthopedic surgeons fix the fracture, send the patient to the physicians. But here we do not have the luxury of that kind of backup. The physicians themselves are so busy that if we add to their caseload, the patient will just be left between us and them. So we try to update our knowledge to not only fix the fracture, but to prevent the next one. And those patients who come to us who we think have risk of breaking a bone in the near future, we try to screen them, to assess them before the break. There's no magic in diagnosing osteoporosis once the bone breaks. The trick is to diagnose it before it breaks, prevent the fracture, prevent the slide into patient becoming bed-bound, chair-bound. You know, even death can result from this.
Okay, now you freaked me out. How serious is osteoporosis?
Well, it can be very serious. I'll just give an example. Again, these are Western figures, but I'm sure they'll be many times worse for Pakistan. If you have 100 patients with a hip fracture who get operated in a good quality hospital in the UK, 30% will be dead within the first year. Trauma of the surgery and trauma of the fall. The 33% will be dead within the first year.
Okay.
Of the 66% who survive, 33% will permanently bedbound.
My God.
The 33% who are alive and walking, of them half will be dependent on wheelchairs and walkers. and only 15 to 18% will be walking normally to the previous level of injury. Now, these are from Queen's Medical Center in Nottingham, UK. These are few years old, but they will be much, much worse for Pakistan, because the quality of bone in Pakistan, because of malnutrition, poverty, poor diet,
sedentary lifestyle,
fast food lifestyle, is much worse bone quality here than what you would see in the UK.
What are some of the things that make your bone quality worse? You mentioned carbonated drinks and all is really bad.
Well, if we start from the beginning,
yes.
It's good to remember a saying from a very famous orthopedic surgeon who said, it's a pediatric disease with a geriatric outcome. Starts with bad eating habits in childhood. And it manifests in an old age. So if a child who's like 10, whose milk intake is nil, and the interest is on burgers, french fries, carbonated drinks, early introduction to smoking, all of these things prevent the bone from depositing the amount of calcium they require in old life.
Okay.
A person will deposit maximum calcium before the 3rd decade.
Okay.
Onwards, the bone will not gain any more calcium and will slowly decline. And as age advances, the decline will become faster.
Okay.
So what you do as a child will have a bearing what happens to you after you're 55.
Okay.
And if a person is very heavy into carbonated drinks, they're very acidic. They produce a chemical reaction in the body which results in, for example, rough example, 1 glass of a carbonated drink, fast food, cold drink, will lead to losing about 1 glass of calcium equivalent from the bones, glass for glass. That's a rough example.
Come on.
That's true.
It's that bad?
It can be for people whose diet is based on fast food and carbonated drinks. Coffee is a big culprit. Smoking is a big culprit. High protein diets like fad high protein diets, you must have heard of them. They do help people lose weight, but they produce immense amounts of sulfuric and phosphoric acid as the protein is metabolized. They can lead to high blood pressure, increased cholesterol, gout, which we see, but they also lead to osteoporosis, because to buffer that amount of acid which is produced, the body loses calcium.
Good God.
So it's a pretty complicated biochemical chain.
It is, my God. It's interesting, you know, how you could be doing things without realizing, and how you're affecting your body in such a detrimental way.
People think bone is like the wood of a furniture.
Yes.
But it's actually like the wood in the tree. The wood in the furniture is dead.
It's dead.
As mine will be if I'm under the ground. But if we compare the living bone with the living tree, it responds to external stress, responds to attack by germs, bacteria. It grows in sunshine and water. If you don't give it fertilizer, it starts to dry out. That's what happens to human body bones as well. So it's a very dynamic thing. It's not a static structure. So if it gets good calcium intake, appropriate exercise, avoidance of things which will deplete it of calcium, then the chances of getting osteoporosis at a later age or getting it up to a very low level are better than someone who's careless.
Your bones start deteriorating at 30 plus. So the building up of calcium is in the first 3 decades of your life.
Yes.
Is it still important to keep drinking milk once you're 30? Because if you're not creating any calcium, then what's the point of taking calcium supplements and drinking milk?
The term is not creating calcium. The ability of the body on the bone to retain calcium starts to decline.
Okay.
If a diet is low in calcium, the rate of decline is faster.
Okay.
If the diet is good in calcium, then the rate of decline is slow. It will happen in every human being. It's a normal consequence of aging. But the rate is affected by the individual's behavior, dietary preferences, exercise level. And most authorities now feel that if you replace all your dietary requirement of calcium with dairy products, it gives you too much fat. For example, a lady who's post-menopause, who's 65, her daily requirement of milk is 5 glasses a day. That is almost impossible for anybody to take 5 glasses of day in, day out for the next 20 years.
Yes.
But that is explained to the patient as a measurement as to how much calcium they are missing every day. But the idea is to convert that into milligrams, which is like 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per day.
Yes.
Which is like 2 to 3 tablets of calcium depending on the mg.
Okay.
So that is just a way to get the patient an idea that this is how much milk they need. If you have 5 glasses of milk, there is no such thing as a no-fat milk. There is low-fat milk, but it is impossible to have a milk which is no fat. A lot of health authorities discourage people, you know, in old age, having their calcium requirement replaced by dairy products. It gives them too much cholesterol and fats.
It does.
So supplements calcium with combination vitamin D. Calcium doesn't work without vitamin D.
Okay.
So these are safer than having huge quantities of milk. Dairy products to taste.
Yes.
milk, yogurt, cheese, but not in mega quantities.
Not in bulk.
That's not in bulk. That's not a good idea.
Okay, we need to take a commercial break if that's all right. But I think an important point which you also brought up is it doesn't work without vitamin D.
It doesn't work without vitamin D.
Yes, so I'd like to ask you that when we come back. Just a short break. Please don't go too far.